heard from Optus, the CEO was in tears. Like that's a sign of someone who's got regrets. Like, you know,
oh my God, that's your worst nightmare as a CEO. You're trying to protect your customers and you find out that this massive hack has happened and put everybody, all of your customers possibly compromised. And now I know not all of them have been. Of the 9.8 million customers that they have, I think there's about 2.8 million that got hacked. And those
it's a lucky dip though. Is your name in the wrong side or the right side of that?
But they contain major data breaches like the names, date of births, phone numbers, email addresses, driver's license numbers, passport numbers, all this stuff that, you know, you really need to do identity theft. Now,
and I've been on the dark web this morning, Jackie, and there's 200 odd full detailed names, and not everyone you can get on the dark web if you're anyone. It's quite a process to get on it.
I could never get on there because you need something called an onion or something like that. Do you need an onion?
Jackie showed up at the fruit shop and they said, listen, we can sell you onion, $1.99
Where do I put this onion? There's no space for it in my computer.
We got our tech expert, Trevor Long. He knows everything. We always get him on when it's above our pay grade. Hello, Trevor. Good morning, buddy.
Hi, Trevor.
Morning. I'm happy to be above your pay grade.
Now, Trevor, what the hell happened here? How did it happen? Is it easy, these data breaches, or is this some genius somewhere heavily funded getting into this stuff?
It's one of those two, and right now it could be either. But you'd like to think it was an elaborate group of organised hackers in Europe that found their way in and got all this data. But the person that is purporting to have the data and trying to sell it back to Optus for $1 million also claims that it was quite easy. They claim that it was, in fact, not even password protected. They pretty much just found the site and was able to extract all the data. If that's true, we're talking about a massive failing on Optus's part.
But no wonder he was crying. That's bad. Was it a guy or a girl, Carl?
Woman,
the CEO?
It was a lady. It was a lady.
No wonder she was crying because that's poor form. You know, you've got to protect your customers.
But how do we know? Do we know what was it? Like this guy claiming to have it. Like he's already a bit of an asshole, obviously.
Well, I mean, he's been telling the truth so far. He's provided evidence.
That's the thing, Jackie. He provided the evidence. So what he's saying is he's got two files. One of them contains 11 million users' data, and the other is 10 million.
Oh.
And just to give you some quantity in terms of user people, 3.6 million have driver's licenses. That's a huge number of people to have their worst information exploited, not just your name and phone number, but your address, your driver's license. And so what they do when they make these claims, because they're trying to get $1 million, is they say, here's 200 examples, 100 from each of those files. Now, I have looked at those files. I spent a bit of time on the weekend ringing around a few people and freaking a few people out, to be honest. They weren't happy getting the call and knowing that their data was out there. But finding people that legitimately had been Optus customers or are Optus customers and now know that they're part of this breach, and that's going to be the problem for millions more.
Can I ask? There's a lot of people who have had their information out there, right, in this hack. But what do they do now? Can they do anything at all to protect themselves from this?
In reality, Jackie, the only thing they can do is have vigilance now around one of two things. They're either going to get scammed really badly, a lot of emails, a lot of text messages, saying their name, their date of birth, their address, because that makes it feel real and familiar. So these emails will trick you into thinking that the email is legitimate. And the other problem is because they've got things like your personal ID, they may now go and apply for credit or credit cards on your behalf. So
oh my God, that's right. Then they start getting credit cards on your name and clocking things up left, right and centre.
We can't do anything to stop that from happening?
The only thing you can do is ring a credit agency and actually put a ban on your credit. It's not an easy thing to do. You need evidence and reasons around it. Hopefully they make that easy for people. But the best thing that can happen is I think this will happen, Optus will probably allow people who are affected to subscribe for free to one of those services that alerts you when your name is being used.
It's too much bullshit. Why doesn't Optus just pay the ransom and save everyone all this drama?
Because you pay the ransom, he's still going to keep the data and he's going to give it to someone else.
Yeah.
Like, you can't trust a hacker.
No, exactly. That's so true.
What if they promise to give it back?
Pinky promise. The AFP will let that go, I'm sure.
So people would then, if this goes south and it ends up on the dark web, all this data, you've got every scammer out there now able to access these people's information and start the process of identity theft.
Yep.
Oh,
identity theft, identity fraud, credit fraud, and most importantly, just random annoying text and email scams.
But anyone you hear that has experienced identity theft, it can ruin your life and you never, ever get it back. It will forever be a problem in your life.
If Optus came out and Optus, I think their worst problem is they've said, don't worry, it's not your important information like your password or your credit card details. I would prefer it was that, because then I could say to people, change your password, change your credit card details.
Exactly.
You can't change your date of birth. And so it's a real, this is much bigger than Optus is making out, unfortunately. And I respect the fact they're working with authorities, but they're not doing enough to make it clear this is bad.
When were they told about this, and when did the rest of the customers and the public find out?
They say the attack occurred last Wednesday, and their systems alerted them to that. They shut it down. 1 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, The Australian wrote an article. I'm assuming they asked Optus beforehand to comment, but 2 o'clock they put out not a press release, they put an announcement on their website. Only on Friday afternoon did they start emailing customers.
What?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Who goes to the website?
Yeah. Why would you go to the website on a random day?
They could have sent text messages on Thursday to millions of people.
They're a phone company. Yeah. Surely they can access.
They argue they didn't want to send texts or emails because they didn't want them to have links in them that would be perceived to be a scam. I argue, don't send a link. Just send a text message that says, this is Optus. We've had a cyber attack. Please go to our website for more information. Full stop, done.
Exactly.
No link.
God, why aren't you running the cyber scams department over there?
Well, they just don't have the money, Kyle.
Now, there's a guy I read that he contacted Optus. He's one of the ones that involved in the leak, and he wanted them to compensate him for the $15 he wants to pay every month so that you can hire companies that will keep track of all your information, and if anything looks suspicious, they'll alert you. And I think that what a great service that is.
It is a good. I've never even heard of that. That's amazing.
Equifax and a bunch of other credit reporting agencies will monitor, but for a fee. So just add that up for a minute. Even if it's only 3.6 million people, and if they Optus have to spend, because you've got to have that for a couple of years. Just a few months isn't good enough. That's a couple of $1 billion they're going to have to spend to make this right.
I don't think Optus should be paying for that. This guy was saying that, but what I'm asking.
Not?
Well, because
absolutely they should. It's their hack. They were the ones that let the data out.
It's their error. They should have had it encrypted and have multiple firewalls and multiple. It sounds like
you're right.
they left the back door open and no one was in charge.
If they left the back door open, you're right. Maybe they should be doing that. But if they don't, and they said they weren't going to, but if they did, where do you find? So you said Equifax. I mean, this is something I would like to have on a monthly retainer.
Equifax they're a great company. They do a lot of these credit checks and stuff. I didn't know they did personalised followings.
I can give is there's a website, and it's a business or an organisation called ID Care. It's an Aussie thing, idcare.org. Now, what they do is they deal with people who have been affected by identity fraud. But I think if you go to their website and you read up, you'll find lists of those credit reporting agencies and different things like that. On the homepage, they've got a fact sheet about this data breach. I think it's probably a really good starting point for people who are worried about this.
Now, Trevor, one of the women is called Monica. She was an Optus customer who got hacked. Trevor found her on the dark web, and this is one of the people that he called that wasn't real thrilled because no one wants to get this call, but you'd rather know than not know. Monica, good morning. Must have been quite a disappointing day when you got the call, hey, you've been hacked through the Optus thing, right?
Well, you're one of the 200, right, that the hacker has given as proof.
That's right. Yes, I'm just shocked and surprised with the information I received on that phone call. It could affect me, like, somehow in the future. Like, it's not just an inconvenience, it can be damaging, like you said earlier, Jackie.
Yeah. I mean, what have you done since? Anything, or have you got any advice?
Well, I feel like it's too late to do anything. They've got everything. Like, all the information I've received on that phone call is like everything.
So
you know what's upsetting?
Did you have your passport and license as well?
My license. He gave me my license.
Oh, no.
See, what's upsetting is you have to give all these people everything, and then the trust has got to be we're paying customers. If you can't hold that stuff close to your heart, as secure as a newborn child, then you're at fault.
And especially something like your phone bill or your electricity, like we have to use those services.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have
it's
a
not
choice.
like it's Facebook or something that's not necessary.
Yep, that's exactly right.
So, Monica, have you been reached out to from Optus yet? Have you been told anything official?
Just the generic emails they're sending everyone, which is really disappointing, especially when I'm listed on that website.
Yes, because there's, the dark web that's full of people you don't want to have your information. So
creeps and weirdos.
Exactly. And how many people has it been leaked to now because everyone's sharing it?
Well, I mean, some people can go on there pretty easily and find this stuff. So I think there should be more done to protect you.
And the worry is, Jackie, not just some people can go on there and find it easily. The people that are on the dark web are the predators,
That's what I mean.
The weirdos,
They're the ones that are
going to
scam
my credit rating.
Exactly. And does that ruin everything? Like, how many years is this going to affect Monica for and her whole family?
She should be compensated because whilst I don't know what they're going to do with the others, right? But the 200 that they've used as proof of, hey, this really happened, those people are now out there, and that's your worst case scenario. So I just think that you should be compensated for that
hang on,
somehow.
I've got another one. Felix, he's only 25, this bloke. He's another one. Are you on the list too, Felix?
With the 200 people?
I haven't been contacted as the 200, but I have got the generic email saying that I am in that list of the breach.
Oh, God.
And what are you going to do? Nothing.
Well, see, I contacted Optus live chat, yesterday, last night. And I was like, well, I needed to confirm, am I part of the list that has been breached? And they said, let me check. Yes, you have. And then I said, okay, what are Optus going to do about it? Because I'm at risk of, having my credit rating destroyed or my identity stolen. And then they said, we're not doing anything at the moment. And I'm like, well, what the hell are you talking about? You have to do something.
What? So they obviously they haven't. What if they're not telling the customers? They mustn't have got a plan together yet. I know it's like an unexpected thing, but I would have thought when you're governing something like a big company like an Optus or whatever, there'd be protocols for if this happens, if there's a data breach, if this happens. Aren't they already? I don't know about this. Trevor, is that in place for these big companies? They've already got like a plan of what to do if these breaches or some sort of security happens.
Are you
Trevor,
still there? Yeah, that's to you, Trevor.
I think they are. I think they put in place their protocols very quickly. But unfortunately, what they don't know what to do is how to help their customers. Because normally, in this case, as we've talked about, it's normally like the advice is change your password. They can work them through those things. They don't have a plan for when people's identities are stolen. And that is the thing that they're playing down and that they don't have a plan for.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Right. Well, I'm sure with Optus that they appear when you look at their business and you see the folks that are working there. They're not asshole types. Like they'd be probably scampering around now.
They probably are, but
they've got to come up with a plan. If they don't have a plan, they've got to come up with one.
It's so sad. Sorry, Felix, that you're on the receiving end of this. I would absolutely die. You would just be fretting the whole time, checking counts, checking constantly.
It's the fear of not knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah, right? That's right. And it's just so bad.
And because I've got a wedding coming up that I've got to pay for all this stuff for. So if I need to pay all this money and like I can't pay it off because my credit card's frozen or whatever, like what the hell am I supposed to what to my fiance?
Can't you? Maybe we all just get our
maybe
cash out.
she's with Vodafone and she can pay for it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I said to bloody Optus. I'm like, you're lucky you've locked me in for a 36-month contract because I'd be out of here tomorrow if that wasn't the case.
Oh, I would too.
I'd be asking you to get out of that, Felix.
I'd
be making a call right now saying I've got grounds to leave.
Oh, he does, Trevor? He has grounds to leave? Yeah, of course he would. I mean, you can't get your information hacked and they still
Trevor,
lock you
what
in.
about the other companies? Because remember when the Crown Casino got done for all that shit they were going through and they nearly lost their licence, and you'd think, if you worked over at Star, you'd be making sure that, well, no, a year later, Star were doing the same sort of thing, and everyone was like, well, is there problems in the other telcos?
TPG, Vodafone, Telstra and everyone, they would have been working hard for the last 4 days to make sure that every single piece of armour they have on their networks is strong, because it can't happen to another one, and so they would not want that to happen.
No.
So, I think that would be doubling
down. And do you think they'll be successful in doing that, Trevor?
I'd like to say yes, but there's no way anyone can guarantee there won't be another breach of data, whether it's at a telco or an insurance company. Who knows?
It makes you really think.
And do you
have
think
we done the right thing? Have we done the right thing going this way of all the technology? And if it's that easy, it's not that safe. Like,
that is
what have we done to ourselves?
It's our way of life. But do you think we have the right, Trevor, to call our operator, like I'm with Telstra, would I have any right to call them and say, I want to know what information you have on the system about me, and I want you to take these details off?
They are required by law to keep our details because, so in America, if you walk into it, and Kyle, you would have done this, you walk into a telco store and they'll just give you a SIM card. No, they don't ask anything. In Australia, they're required to get identity and things like that so that if there is an issue, the police can track you down. So that's why they store this information. I don't have a problem with that, but why isn't it encrypted? And most importantly, why was it able to be hacked in this way? So I don't think we have rights to ring our telcos and ask them to remove our info, but I'd be asking my telco to confirm, for example, is my data encrypted?
Let's put some
pressure on them to do that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Trevor. Sorry, Felix.